Whoa. Why? Hello there. Looking over the data here, boys. 2004. People have been asking. They're like, F Zappa 20. That's who I am. I'm F Zappa 20. They're like, man, what do you think of 2004 Phish? I mean, they played 17 shows. Any chance you could rank those? I was like, absolutely. Give me a couple days. I'm on it. So, really, is how we're going to do this. A little unconventional for YouTube. You know, some people start with number one, some people start with whatever they're doing. Maybe a 10, 11. Some people like to go with 7. Top fives are popular. We got 17 shows, so we got to rank them 1 through 17. But what we're going to do is we're going to go 11 through 17, and then we will go 1 through 10. It is undecided if we will go 1 through 10 or 10 through 1. Most likely 10 through 1. 11 through 17, I think we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start at, actually, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to start at number 11, and then we're going to end with number 17. And then we're going to jump all the way to 10, and we're going to count down to 1. All right? You guys into numbers? Remember that numbers show? People like numbers. I mean the Phish numbers show. I don't mean that television show numbers. I mean, that show was awful. I watched a couple episodes of that, and I counted the ways it sucked. That's probably why it was called numbers. All right, so we're going to start with number 11 as promised. It was night number 2 in Brooklyn, the Jay-Z show. Now don't get worried. Now don't be like, whoa, this couldn't have been it was the 11th best show. While it wasn't a great show, given a 3.1 on .net, Jay-Z joining him might have been the highlight of the night. Now, that might have been the low light of the night, perhaps. You know, if you were a Phish fan. Although Phish fans did seem to be getting into it that night. Night number 1 there in Brooklyn, you know, obviously was a simulcast on theaters, kind of a warm-up for Coventry. Eventually became a DVD, and not a bad show itself. Where will that rank, 1 through 17? So number 11, we got night 1 in Brooklyn. So now we got to jump to number 12. Ooh, might be controversial. I think it was night number 2 in Vegas, a 3-night run. Most likely, most fans would agree, the worst 3-night run in the history of the band, probably. I mean, all 3 nights were pretty horrible. According to Phish.net, each night got slightly better, night 1 being the worst, night 3 being the best, all 3 of them being under a 3.0. But I actually enjoyed night number 2. Mostly I'm thinking this because, I downloaded it, put it on a CD back and then at some point. The other 2s I did not. So there was something from that night 2 in Vegas, the 12th best show. So let's get on to number 13, Hampton. First of all, who plays one night at Hampton? 3.0 on .net. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about right here. They had taken a little break at the end of June until August 9th was this show, August 9th of '04. I guess I could say the dates here on some of these, couldn't I? So let's get on to the 14th show. This was night number 2 at Coventry, August 15th, what was probably going to be their last show, the second lowest rated show on .net, only given a 2.3, but with 3 long sets. There were some things, like a YEM, a split open and melt. They had their moments for sure, while overall they were horrible. So I got them at 14, and then the first night, night number 1 at Coventry, I got at number 15. It was equally bad. It didn't even have the YEM or the split open and melt. It didn't have Paige and Trey crying. So, that's why it's a little worse than for the second night. So now we're on to number 16. We're getting to the 2 worst shows of the year. Now, both of these were in Vegas. Night number 3, April 17th, Las Vegas, the Thomas and Mack Center. Not even at the MGM. I mean, this run was horrible. Given a 2.9 on .net. I'm giving it the second last best show. And then 17th, night number 1 in Vegas, April 15th. I don't even, at this point, it was like, what are we doing? This might have been the night they decided we're done, we're quitting. I don't know, it was April. Maybe sometime in between, that might have been the night, seriously, really. It kind of all started the holiday run back in '03. They did a little something to commemorate 20 years, I guess it was, and those shows were all horrible, including an all-time stinker, November, Philly, awful. All right, that was '03, though. We're talking '04 here. So now we're going to jump to number 10, now that you got 11 through 17. We could recap, I suppose. At 11, like I said, we got Brooklyn. At number 12, what did we have? Oh, yeah, number 12, we actually had night 2 in Vegas. Controversy alert. Number 13, we had that one night in Hampton. Look, they were desperate to get back to Hampton. They probably thought they were never going to play again, but one night in Hampton, It got an F for me. That might have been the last of the Fs. Nah, Coventry were bad. They were probably Fs. At 14 and 15, and then at 16 and 17, definitely a couple of Fs. There's a lot of Fs. Although there were some A's. We'll get to these now. All right, number 10. Now I don't know if it was an A's. In fact, they tried to play Tears of a Clown. Nobody knew the lyrics. An audience member, luckily, joined him on stage, helps him out with the lyrics there. There was a Waves. Not a lot of songs had a great summer in '04. Waves being one of them, and that was one of the highlights here at the Tweeter Center night number 2. A much better 3-night run than Las Vegas, obviously. Only 2 3-night runs this summer. This whole year, in fact. And then, so now we're up to number 9, Deer Creek. A 2-night run at Deer Creek. The first night, had a big bathtub gin, given a 3.6 on .net. I would say that's probably an appropriate rating. If that's somewhere in the C plus range, that's probably good. So let's get on to number 8. That was night number 1, the infamous glow stick night. And now, if they hadn't decided back in Vegas to quit, this was the night fans just pelted the stage with glow sticks. Causing some problems was Trey's rig. His man had to come out and fix it, do a little work. Trey should have probably scolded the crowd pretty hard there if he didn't. Thanks to .net for a lot of their notes and help remembering a lot of this stuff. And then we are on to, where are we at, number 7? The 7th bet? Oh, Brooklyn. This was the night that became a DVD. Actually, not a bad show. Somehow they pulled it all together. Things weren't going great back in June, but they did pull it together a couple of nights, right here being one of them in Brooklyn. That was the 7th best show. Now we're on to the 6th, Alpine Night 1. I went to 2 of these shows this year. We thought it was all over. I couldn't get to Deer Creek. I don't know what the situation was. Apparently I couldn't get off work. It's not a problem now, is it? Hey-o. So, where are we at? Alpine Night 1, Wolfman's Brother. Speaking of songs that had big summers, this was probably when I became a big Wolfman's guy. 7 Below sneaking in there. Another song that had a big summer, Night 1 at Alpine. Wolfman's and 7 Below. The 5th best show that year was night number 2 at Deer Creek, the Squirming Coil Encore. Had some other jammers in there. That's the one that was most noteworthy to me, written down there. A show that I did download and put on CD. Night number 3, the Tweeter Center, ending strong there. Unfortunately, though, the announcement from Trey came night number 3 here at the Tweeter Center, telling people, "Oh, not so fast." Pulled a Lee Corso on them a little bit on your Coventry trip. And I'll include some videos down below. I believe they're still on YouTube. Some fans were hot, man. He told them in Camden, just wait, it's going to rain. Some of them waited, and then they were like, oh, now we're not going to make it, man. If we would have just went, if we would have been insubordinate and not listened to Trey and just went to Coventry, we would be there. A lot of people got turned around on the highway, That's why they were the 14th and 15th best shows of a year that only had 17 shows. Now, where were we? We were leaving the Tweeter Center. We're now headed to the top 3. Now, anybody's going to have their mix. Now, I feel like these 3 shows will probably rank in your top 3. Night number 2 at the SPAC was night number 3 for me, the second set, if not the best second set of the summer. Definitely, again, a top 3 second set. Night number 1 at the SPAC, it probably hyped it. It was overall a better show, including a huge Piper. I mean, this thing was a monster. So, Piper again, like many songs, or not a lot of songs, Piper though, 03 and 04. And on this night in 04, June 19th, night number 1 at the SPAC, the Student Penis Activity Center. Nah, that's not what it's called. I forget. It's the Performing Arts Center, right? Saratoga Performing. I don't know what I was saying with the Student Penis. These were college students, obviously. Come on now. Let's not get carried away. So that was the second best show of the year, and I was doing really good until I started talking about Student Penis, Got a little weird there. Third night. So that leaves only, you're like, what is it? Well, if you're a big fan of 04, it was Alpine Night number 2. I was there. Sat next to a guy from Beaver Creek. Couldn't believe it. It didn't seem possible. What am I doing? That's Beaver Creek, Ohio. It's near Dayton. One of the burbs. It's weird. Also a guy from Auburn, Alabama. He was the guy that was not a big fan of Rogue. Some fan was like, Rogue! And that guy from Auburn was like, no! It was a nice little call and response. Little activity from the fans. All right, we're closing in on 10 minutes. We don't have time to recap. You may have to rewind. Maybe I'll put it down in the description. I don't know. There'll definitely be links down there. So that's 1 through 17. 04 wasn't a great year. Alpine and the SPAC, they were great shows, however. Trey, he had problems. Boom, we're out of here.